everyone. This is George Soto with Soto Ventures out of Silicon Valley. Hope all is well. Today I'm with Victor Rico, who is the head of sales at Mexico City-based Conekta, which actually happens to be a 500 startups company. Victor, how are you doing?
Hey, Jorge. Great seeing you. Everything's going well. Friday afternoon here at our office.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat. It's funny because I've actually been involved with Conekta as an advisor through what was before Mexican.vc, which was then rolled up into 500. So I've been excited and blessed to be able to see your growth. And I know you've also been associated with the company as a friend for a while as well. So, kudos to what you've been up to over there.
Thanks, Jorge. Yeah, it's been a blast working with the team and pretty much seeing us grow. It's an amazing experience.
And for the viewers out there, Victor is literally live streaming from Mexico City. So if there are any delays with the internet, do pardon us. Victor, what's your professional background and how did you get into startups and then also sales? Because I know you went to college here in California, right?
That's true, Jorge. As a matter of fact, I went to Menlo College, which is also known as Silicon Valley's business school. And that happened right after I graduated from high school. I went to a military boarding school in New Mexico. Although I was born and raised in Chihuahua, I moved to the U.S. when I was 15. And then since then, I joined the military boarding school and then to Menlo. How I got involved with startups? Well, it's a great question, one that I love to tell the story about, because I got into Silicon Valley in 2015. Take that back, 2005. So that was right when Facebook and all of these great companies that have come out of the Valley were starting to scale and get some progress. So essentially, after I realized where I was at, I started to make connections. I started to network with people, essentially Mexican people that was being part of these huge movement or being part of some of the startups that were most most successful at the time. And that's how I met Bismarck. Bismarck Lepe was the founder of Uyala. And right after I graduated from college, Bismarck told me, hey, Victor, you should just go to Mexico and start sales in LATAM for us. And that's what I did.
Yeah, what are some of the things that you learned about B2B sales while you were at Uyala that now you use at Conekta?
So I guess there's plenty of things that I've learned over the course of my 4 years at Uyala. I was probably about employee 100, and I left when there were 300 people at the company, and we got acquired by Telstra, which is an Australian telco. So my most amazing learning from that experience is that you just gotta be able to create a strategy about how you create value for potential customers and your actual partners. So what we did is we started looking at some interesting models that were working in the States. For instance, at the time I was living in the States, I saw Netflix transitioning from a movie delivery business to a full streaming online video business. And after I came to Mexico, I realized that there were some companies out here that had the potential to replicate that business model. And it was the case of Cinépolis, which ended up being my customer, and it was the biggest sale from Uyala at that time. So that was a massive opportunity and a great way to show that not only those business models and those type of services work in the States or Europe, but also in Latin America. So we were very smart about how we pick the prospect that we wanted to work with, but I obviously knew that Cinépolis had what it takes to get there. Essentially, they were connected with the movie film industry, and they also had the funds to do it. So we launched Cinépolis Click, as part of this new project of online video streaming, and that's what we kept doing. So we partnered with companies like CNN here in Mexico, with Caracol in Colombia, with some of the major editorial firms like El Tiempo, El Universal here in Mexico, and some other companies that were well aligned with our value proposition, and that were able to essentially get pretty good returns on their investment from a SaaS platform.
Great, great. What's the startup scene like in Mexico City? I know I was there doing a Sales for Startups event about 3 years ago, and I know you hosted a Sales for Startups event for us in northern Mexico, also around the same time. What would you say is kind of like the current status of the startup scene there, and how is it doing business, or how is it different rather doing business in LATAM today, or unique rather, versus the United States?
That's a great question, Jorge. And I think, it doesn't matter whether you do sales. It's all about being able to connect with the potential customers and being able to communicate effectively your message. So I'll say there are not a lot of difference from doing business in Mexico, in the US, or in the US. However, here in Latin, my experience is that you have to be able to educate the customer much more, because essentially it's everything new, right? So it's very difficult to find potential prospects that get your message. But once you're able to communicate that effectively, you're pretty much on the other side, and you're able to partner and make very good business relationship with these customers. Because one thing is for certain, that the market is there and the opportunity it's up there for the taking. So we're very excited about the ecosystem and the overall startup scene, because today we're seeing startups being successful, and the way that we're helping those startups at Conekta, and before we're helping the big media companies at Liala, it's improving the overall scene and the overall ecosystem of startups here in the whole region.
It's interesting, because we've seen the evolution of technology globally right now. And like you said, I'd like to look at Conekta as the payment infrastructure of the future, really the current. If you look at markets like the United States, and with Stripe and Braintree and all these other payment mechanisms, but I see you powering payments and the movement of money in Latin America, in all Spanish and Portuguese speaking markets, for the foreseeable future. And what's the beauty of what I believe you guys are doing is that you're just getting started. What would you say is kind of what Conekta does in your own words, and how are you disrupting the LATAM market?
That's great, Jorge. So essentially, we provide a very robust infrastructure for managing online payments. That's here in Mexico, and we're going for the rest of Latin America. And different to the competition that you mentioned, we get this market. We understand what it takes to be successful, and we're currently adding payment methods that are relevant for this region. We obviously understand that it's a huge market, and that we have to be very smart about how we tackle it, and that's essentially what we're doing. So we started with our API solution for developers. Then we partner with e-commerce platforms that will allow us to scale. And at this point, we are the payments platform for some of the enterprise companies that are doing payments in the region. So that's pretty exciting. And we're actually, like you said, we're just getting started. We're looking forward to what's coming up next on the Conekta side, and for the rest of our customers and prospects.
That's awesome. Well, I'm obviously excited about what you're doing. I'm a big fan of Hector and Leo, and and Christina over there, the founders who are just some of the most tenacious executors that I've actually ever met in terms of engineering and pushing product. What do you see is the growth of Conekta? You know, you being, of course, head of sales and revenue and marketing and customer success there right now. How do you see the next 12 months playing out? And are you hiring? Is there any specific website or email someone who's watching this video can access to be able to apply for jobs?
Absolutely, Jorge. So right now we're looking to grow our commercial team. Essentially, we're rolling up a brand new sales operations and marketing automation campaign, so that we're able to connect more nicely with our customer base and with our prospects. We understand our market, and we know exactly who and why we're going after these accounts. So essentially, if there's anyone out there looking for an amazing opportunity to join one of Mexico's leading startups, it's your chance. Feel free to reach out to my email address, which is victor@conekta.io. And that's the first with C, the second one with a K. So it's victor@conekta.io. And I'll be happy to further explore any opportunities. And how we see these next 12 months rolling over, it's we're going for the whole market. We're growing our customer base. We're scaling our monthly transactions, and we're growing our volume of transactions per month. And it's growing at a rate that for the first time that I've been involved in the industry, in the internet industry in Mexico, I actually see it happening. So those 35 to 50% growths of month over month are now happening in the market, and that's something that we've waited for, but now the time's here. I think it's time to take advantage of that opportunity.
We'll move over Carlos Slim and Salinas. We have Victor, Rico, and Hector. I always forget how to pronounce Hector's last name, which is a travesty. And of course, Christina and Leo. I'm really excited about what you're doing with the business. Thank you again so much for joining us today. And for everyone, again, if you're interested in moving to Mexico and joining, I would say the hottest startup, certainly in Mexico and in LATAM moving forward, Conekta is definitely the right destination. Thank you so much, Victor. Say hi to everyone for me over there.
Will do, Jorge. Everyone here says hi too, and looking forward to host you one of these days again.
I promise you I will be back.
That's awesome.
Bueno, ciao. Take care.
See you later. Bye-bye.